I'm now in the Chapel of Blessings inside the Basilica of Sant'Antonio. Every day hundreds of pilgrims come here to receive a blessing from a friar of our community. And it was while I was here in this chapel that something terrible took place at 6 p.m. on October the 10th, 1991. It was getting dark, and in a little more than half an hour the basilica would have closed its doors. Suddenly I saw 3 men in black balaclavas, a bag and a sledgehammer running past this chapel. Frightened, I immediately ran into the sacristy to raise alarm, also because screams could be heard in the distance. What was happening? Those 3 criminals had stormed into the chapel of the Relics where I am now, and while one of them held one of the guards and some devotees at gunpoint, the other 2 shattered the crystal glass of the central niche. They quickly grabbed the reliquary of the Chin and fled. Outside the basilica there was a car with a 4th accomplice waiting for them, and in a flash the 4 disappeared into nowhere with the precious relic. The police arrived soon and began to investigate. The getaway car had disappeared and was never found again. As for the 4 robbers, the identikits given to the police were too vague. The only thing certain was that their accent revealed that they were local people. But why steal that relic? For what purpose? We friars were asking ourselves. The disturbing answer the Carabinieri and the police was giving us was the same. They will soon ask for a cash ransom from you or the Vatican. Meanwhile, the news was hitting headlines around the world. Days passed, but we friars did not receive any phone calls from the bandits, nor did anybody ask us or the Vatican any cash ransom. On December the 20th, 1991, 72 days after the terrible robbery, we finally received a phone call from the Carabinieri. They had found a relic. In Rome, they said, in a field near Fiumicino airport. Maybe it was about to be taken abroad. And so it was that on December the 22nd, just 3 days before Christmas, Reliquary of the Chin made his way back into the basilica during a solemn mass. Great was the enthusiasm of the people of Padua who had flocked en masse. But had things really gone that way? Had the reliquary really been taken to Rome? And why? A few years later, we learned that the robbery had actually been commissioned by the boss of a notorious criminal gang rampant in the Veneto region during those years. Through that spectacular robbery, the boss wanted the police to understand that he had the whole Veneto region under his thumb. In any case, this whole affair didn't end well for the boss. He was, in fact, arrested a few years afterwards the robbery and then sentenced to many years in prison. And here we are in front of the famous reliquary stolen in 1991. The first thing to say is that, thanks be to God, the reliquary was returned to the basilica completely intact, with the exception of a few very minor scratches here and there. The reliquary has remained practically the same as when it was donated to the basilica by the Cardinal Guy de Boulogne in 1350. The Cardinal had come specifically to Padua in person to thank the saint for being healed from the Black Plague, a terrible pandemic which caused the death of 1/3 of Europe's population. As you can see, the reliquary has the shape of a bust with a halo, but instead of the face we have a crystal glass through which we can see Sant'Anthony's jawbone, popularly called the Chin. The reliquary is made of gilded silver adorned with precious stones. Whenever I am closer to this relic, I seem to hear Anthony speaking to me, and I can only thank God for granting him the grace strength and courage to do everything he was able to do in his life, and to allow him to inspire, help and console all those people who turn to him. With this thought in mind, I find the definition of relics as traces of God's love as very appropriate. Let us therefore pray together in front of this relic. Dear Saint Anthony, you who through your preaching and your many acts of charity have led many from darkness to light, please also teach us to be messengers of God's love and keep us always united to the Father with the same love a child has for a father. Amen.